Hey friends, have you ever seen a picture of a giant beautiful lake snaking through amazing red canyons? That's Lake Powell. It's one of the biggest human-made lakes in the United States, and it's a super fun place for boating, swimming, and exploring. But guess what? Something really strange and a little scary is happening to it. The lake is shrinking, and I want to tell you why, like we're solving a big mystery together. Imagine you have a giant bathtub. I mean a really giant one, big enough to hold a whole city's water. That's basically what Lake Powell is. It was created a long time ago by building a huge wall, called a dam, across a powerful river called the Colorado River. This dam, the Glen Canyon Dam, stopped the river's water and made it fill up the deep canyons behind it, creating the lake. For many years this worked great. The lake provided water for millions of people, for farms to grow our food, and it even helped make electricity. When water flows through the dam, it spins something called a turbine, which is like a giant pinwheel, and that generates power for our lights and video games. So, Lake Powell is super important, like a big battery and water tank all in one. But here's the problem. For the past 20 years or so, the bathtub has been slowly draining. If you visit Lake Powell today, you'll see something pretty shocking. There are these white lines high up on the canyon walls way above the water. People call it the bathtub ring. That white line shows where the water level used to be. It's like a ghost of the old lake showing us just how much water has disappeared. It's a huge drop, more than the height of a 15-story building. So, where did all that water go? Is there a giant plug at the bottom of the lake that someone pulled? Not exactly, but it's a mix of a few big things. First, let's talk about the main source of water for Lake Powell. Snow. High up in the Rocky Mountains, far, far away, snow falls all winter and piles up. When spring comes, the sun melts all that snow, and it flows down into streams and rivers, which all eventually feed into the big Colorado River and then into Lake Powell. This is how the lake gets refilled every year. But recently we haven't been getting as much snow as we used to. Scientists call this a megadrought, which is just a fancy word for a really, really long period with not enough rain or snow. It's like the sky is being a little stingy with its water. Less snow in the mountains means less water melting and flowing into the river. So, the main faucet filling our giant bathtub isn't running as fast as it used to. That's problem number one. Now for problem number two, it's getting hotter. Our whole planet is warming up, and this warmer weather acts like a thirsty giant. First, the hotter air makes more of the snow on the mountains disappear into thin air before it even has a chance to melt and become water. It's a process called sublimation. Poof, gone. Second, the hotter weather makes the soil in the ground super dry. So when the snow does melt, the thirsty ground soaks up a lot of that water before it can even reach the river. It's like pouring water on a dry sponge. The sponge takes a big gulp first. And finally, the hot sunny days beat down on the lake itself, causing a ton of water to evaporate. That means the water turns into vapor and floats up into the sky. Imagine leaving a glass of water outside on a hot day. When you come back later, some of the water is gone, right? Now imagine that happening across a lake that's hundreds of square miles. It's like millions of gallons of water just vanishing into the air every single day. So we have less water coming in because of less snow, and we're losing more water to the heat and dry ground. That's a double whammy. But wait, there's a third piece to this puzzle. It's us. Remember how I said the lake provides water for millions of people and farms? We're the ones using the water. All the states around the Colorado River agreed a long time ago on how to share the water. The problem is they made that agreement during a time when there was a lot more water in the river than there is now. It's like if you and your friends agreed to share a giant pizza, expecting it to have 16 slices. But when the pizza arrives, it only has 10 slices. If everyone still tries to take the number of slices they were promised, you're going to run out of pizza really fast. That's what's happening with the Colorado River. We are all taking our slice of water, but the whole pizza is much smaller than it used to be. So what does this all mean? Why should we care if a big lake in the desert is shrinking? Well, it's a really big deal. First, the electricity. The Glen Canyon Dam needs a certain amount of water pressure to spin those turbines and make power. If the water level drops too low, the dam can't make electricity anymore. That would be a huge problem for the millions of people who rely on that power. They call this point dead pool, and it's a scary thought. Then there's the water supply. Cities like Las Vegas, Phoenix, and Los Angeles all depend on this water. Farms that grow a lot of the vegetables you see in the grocery store need this water to irrigate their crops. If there's not enough water to go around, it could mean tough choices about who gets water and who doesn't. And what about the lake itself? The shrinking water is changing everything. Places that used to be beautiful bays for boats are now dry, sandy canyons. Fish and other animals that live in the lake are losing their homes. The whole ecosystem, the community of plants and animals living there, is under a lot of stress. So, the big question is, what can we do? This seems like a giant problem, and it is. But even small actions can help. The first step is what you're doing right now. Learning about it. Understanding the problem is super important. Scientists, engineers, and leaders are all working hard to find solutions. They are talking about new ways to save water, like fixing leaky pipes, using water-saving sprinklers on farms, and even finding ways to recycle water so we can use it more than once. They're also renegotiating those old agreements to better match the amount of water we actually have today. And what about us? We can help too. We can all be more mindful of how we use water at home. Simple things like turning off the faucet when you brush your teeth, taking shorter showers, and making sure we don't waste water might seem small. But when millions of us do it, it adds up to a huge amount of saved water. It's like every one of us is helping to put a little bit of water back into that giant bathtub. The story of Lake Powell is a warning sign. It's nature's way of telling us that we need to pay attention. Water is precious, and we can't take it for granted. By working together and all doing our part, we can help protect amazing places like Lake Powell and make sure there is enough water for everyone and everything for years to come. The mystery of the shrinking lake is a wake-up call, and now that we know the truth, we can all be part of the solution. Thanks so much for hanging out and learning about this with me today. It's a big topic, but you guys are smart, and I know you get it. If you found this interesting, please give this video a thumbs up and consider subscribing for more adventures into our amazing world. See you next time.